Hello and welcome to NewsCenter. I'm Parikshit Luthra. At least 14 people are killed and 74 others injured after a giant 120-foot billboard collapsed onto people during heavy rain and thunderstorms in Mumbai's Ghatkopar area. The incident happened on Monday evening when Mumbai was hit by sudden gusty winds and rain. Horrifying visuals show the huge billboard falling on a petrol pump, crushing several vehicles beneath. Rescue teams were immediately rushed to the spot within minutes of the tragedy. It was revealed that the hoarding was installed illegally by Ego Media. Mumbai Civic Authority says the land where the hoarding was put up belonged to the government railway police, which had granted permission to the ad agency. The police has now filed an FIR against the owner of the ad firm, Bhavesh Bhinde, and other officials of the company. Bhinde, who was also booked in a rape case by the Mumbai police earlier this year, is now absconding. This, according to the Indian Express. To take this forward, we are now joined by Shailesh Gandhi, former Central Information Commissioner, B.G. Kolse Patil, former judge of the Bombay High Court, and K.B. Sridhar, founder and CEO of Hyper Collective. We are also joined by Krishna Hegde, former MLA and Shiv Sena spokesperson as well. Let me begin with you, Krishna Hegde. Where does the buck really stop? We have been seeing several warnings from high courts over the years about illegal hoardings. But why has the Sena, why has the BJP government not brought this menace to an end? I'm just quoting from an affidavit that was filed by the BMC in Bombay High Court. They submitted a list of offence sheets of 1,340 illegal hoardings between January and November last year. Why is it that this menace continues all the time?
Parikshit, a very tragic incident happened in Ghatkopar, and I must say that 14 people have lost their lives and close to 79 are injured. Today, the authorities are working to get the people out of whatever has happened there. But I must say that I have personally written a letter to the Honorable Chief Minister asking for an audit. And not only that, even in the Western Express Highway, there are several of these illegal hoardings. And not only are they illegal, but they have flouted size specifications and also height specifications. And they are obstructing the path of the flights, which are moving in and out of the Santa Cruz Airport. And even the erstwhile then Air India, which was the government airline then and now privately controlled, they had also written several letters, to the BMC and other authorities saying that they have to fill in more fuel and use more power to fly the airlines higher, and it is costing them crores of rupees. But in spite of several complaints from all of us, some officers from the Mumbai Municipal Corporation have played truant, and these hoardings are still, in their place. Regarding Bhinde, he's a habitual offender. I do not want to get into his personal life, but it seems he's a habitual lawbreaker. And this hoarding itself was illegal, and it was on railway land. And therefore, our Honorable CM Eknath Shinde ji has asked for an audit of all these hoardings, and even those who have unfortunately lost their lives, 5 lakhs have been given to their families, from the government.
But you haven't really answered the question, Krishna Hegde, whether the Sena party, whether the BJP need to take responsibility and ownership for what has happened. The deaths of 14 people, more than 70 others have been injured. Shailesh Gandhi, who do you think is responsible? All these parties that we're talking about today, be it the Shiv Sena, be it the BJP, they are involved in running the government, the BMC over the years. Who should be held accountable according to you, and where do you think the problem really lies? The BMC is saying we're not giving permission. It is the railway police which is giving permission for these illegal holdings. And this is not a small violation. 40 by 40 square feet is actually permitted for illegal holdings, and this is all the way a 120 by 120 square feet hoarding.
First and foremost, we must sympathize with the people who lost their lives in Hoarding. But this will keep happening. every time this keeps happening, and every time it's the same story. We are not responsible. In my opinion, irrespective of who the land belongs to, it's BMC's responsibility to see that no illegal structures come up. Private lands also, if an illegal structure comes up, they demolish it. And that is what should have happened long time back. From what I understand, only yesterday has notice been given to the offending party. What this is showing is we don't have a rule of law in this country. The rule of law just doesn't operate. And it's obvious to understand that it's corruption, stroke misgovernance that is responsible for this. And I think heads should roll, which will not. 99%, most of these people will not have to pay for it. All those who are responsible for ensuring that such monstrosities don't come up. I believe it's a 250-ton monster sitting right there waiting for something to go wrong. And this will keep happening. And every time we'll hear apologies from the political class, which will not go to obviate anybody's misery. This is a shame for Mumbai, and I think all Mumbaikars must wake up. And the government must wake up also and say, why isn't anyone doing anything about these illegal structures? They are saying we'll do it post, and even after that, they will not do it. So I do not blame the people who are taking advantage. It is the governance structure failure that is responsible for this state of affairs. And it's a very sad state of affairs that the premier commercial city in the country is looking at something like this with no rule of law, no specifications, nothing. People do as they please, and if something goes wrong...
You know what's the sad part, Mr. Gandhi? You know what's the sad part, Mr. Gandhi? This illegal hoarding found mention in the Limca Book of Records. That is the tragedy. When it was constructed, it was the biggest hoarding ever, and it found its way into the Limca Book of Records. And today, it's actually responsible for the death of 14 people and injuring 70 others. I can see former judge of the Bombay High Court, B.G. Kolse Patil, also with us. Sir, yes. Mr. Patil, I'd like to ask you, over the last 5 to 10 years, repeatedly, the Bombay High Court has expressed exasperation, frustration and inaction over illegal hoardings in the city of Mumbai. They have been asking why the recommendations of the nodal committee formed 5 to 6 years ago have not been implemented. They were very simple recommendations that were given. What do you think is the problem? And this is probably one of the worst tragedies that we've seen because of these illegal hoardings. The courts have repeatedly been saying you cannot put these up in public places, on roads. They are a hazard to the public and pedestrians. What do you think is the problem? Justice Patil.
Dear friend, if we introspect, we all are responsible for this. We have never thought of becoming a country where everything is in discipline. Discipline, every authority is corrupt. Now these holdings, I had experience. I was district government in Pune, and the police commissioner refused holding. Both, they were very small holdings, but he refused because of the traffic. Then CM ordered it, let us do it. So even if some officers are good and they try to stop this, this will never stop. And this has become a routine. Everywhere you find illegality. Now bridges are collapsing. What is not happening? And nobody is accountable. Now this holding, it is on railway line, and railway says no, we are not permitted. So who has permitted and how it has gone to Limca Book of Record? So even illegal things in India are recorded in Limca Book of Record. So I always say, please excuse me, you will feel that I am going out of subject. But we have to introspect that the countries were completely destroyed. Hitler, Mussolini, and even Japan, they are at the top. But we are even not thinking how they are at the top, and we are not propagating. Let's see these countries, even though they were destroyed totally, they are at the top now. Where are we? We are at the lowest in every निर्देशांक जो आप हम बोलते हैं. We are lowest everywhere. This is just one of the tip of the iceberg. In every city, you will find this, and many people die.
Justice Patil, we have a representative of the Shiv Sena here on the panel. Justice Patil, we have a representative of the Shiv Sena, Krishna Hegde of the Shinde Sena with us right now. What would be your question to the party which has been in BMC? They are managing the government. They are in power right now in Maharashtra. What would be your question to them, sir? All right, let me put that question to Shailesh Gandhi. Shailesh Gandhi, would you have a question today for Krishna Hegde, the Shiv Sena, the BJP? They are in power in the state of Maharashtra.
Mr. Hegde, can we get a commitment from the government that within the next 3 days, show-cause notices will be issued to the responsible people, and that within 6 months, criminal action will be initiated against them? Can we get such an assurance, or it will be very difficult to give such an assurance?
Firstly, I would
Krishna Hegde, very simple, straightforward question.
Yeah,
from a concerned citizen.
I believe with Shailesh Gandhi ji and Justice Patil ji, and they have said, and I firmly agree with them as well. And on my own, I have also written a letter to the Honorable CM today that these illegal hoardings has to go. But it also depends on what kind of, I cannot say 3 days because the elections are on till the 20th. But I'm sure that I will also follow up, not only on your behalf, but as a conscientious citizen myself, that action should be taken against these illegal hoardings. Not only action, but audit should be on all hoardings in Mumbai, as the Honorable CM has ordered, and that these illegal hoardings, even which are on the Western Express Highway, they should go. Because they are not only illegal, but they're also causing danger to life to people traveling on airlines, and this could be hazardous not only to the passengers who are traveling on the flight, but to the entire Mumbai if some mishap happens due to these flight issues.
The problem is we're talking about the election code of conduct. I'm sure we can actually go to the Election Commission and take these actions. And the fact is the BMC is saying we will now conduct an audit. What is the point of an audit now that you've already had the deaths of 14 people? It's very simple. You can take permission from the Election Commission. And I'm sure for a cause like this, Election Commission will think and give permission. Let me go across to KV Sridhar of Hyper Collective with us. Mr. Sridhar, there was an FIR registered against Ego Media responsible for this hoarding by the BMC in 2023. Still, why was no action taken? What do you think is the problem on the ground? Is there a nexus at play?
It is, very clearly a serial offender, and nobody owns, where the land is, whether he has the permissions or not. So it indicates, everything which does, for any illegal activity. The issue is more apart from, whether the site is legal or illegal. The safety of any construction needs to be supreme. I think, if we can build 30 kilometers bridges across the sea and then have underwater tunnels, of course, we can have norms about safety of a 40 by 40 feet hoardings in the city. It's not something, which cannot be done. I think more important is not the legality of that. The technicality of it needs to be seen. It is all greed for money. The larger hoarding you make, not only you get the glory into Limca Book of Record, but you will also get more rental. We just imagine 240 square feet is larger than most of the apartments in Bombay. It is such a large hoarding, visibility will be very high, and then advertisers will pay through their nose for getting a site which will give an impact like that. So that is where, nothing wrong in constructing a site of that size. There's absolutely nothing wrong, provided you take care, the precautions, the safety, the regulations, everything you obey, and then you do it, fantastic. And then if you don't do anything and then construct something which is meant for 40 by 40 and then use the same structure to construct something which is 120 by 120, of course it's going to give in at any point in time. We are a coastal city, and then we know that thunderstorms and then wind pressure will be much higher. And then 60 kilometers you can't take it, and hoardings
Right.
give a. And then what will happen if we were to be hit by a cyclone? Now all the buildings would collapse. Correct? So there are certain norms which is there for construction.
Right.
Which are
Some very,
not being
very
put
valid
forward.
questions there, sir. We are going to request all our panels. We are going to request all our panelists to stay with us. Some very important questions. We've just got started. We'll continue with this discussion. We're taking a short break, but we will be back with all our guests. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching NewsCenter. We have Rachna Dhanrajani joining us live from one of the places in Mumbai. We are talking about the Billboard collapse tragedy. Give us a sense, Rachna, where are you right now? What action has been taken so far? The BMC is talking about an audit, but clearly there is a blame game. What are the families of victims actually telling you?
Right, Parikshit, I'm here at the crash site. This is exactly where the hoarding had collapsed yesterday, and it's been over 24 hours since the rescue operation started, held by NDRF, Mumbai Fire Brigade and the Mumbai police officials. From what we've gathered so far is about 44 people who've been rescued from this rubble have sustained critical injuries and are still being treated at the government hospitals nearby, whereas 31 who sustained minor to normal injuries have been discharged already. One of them is still extremely critical. But talking about the 14 dead, 14 victims have, 14 lives have been claimed because of this particular crash. What is extremely tragic is that this hoarding actually holds a Limca record, but unfortunately it does not hold a record in BMC officials' registers because it wasn't authorized by the BMC. It has actually been erected on GRP land, and the petrol pump near it actually happens to be the only petrol pump on this entire stretch. Mind you, this is the Eastern Express Highway, which many people take every day to go to work or to go to their places. Now, what we've gathered from the families is that I spoke to one of the taxi drivers who was unfortunately who was rescued today, who was unfortunately in this rubble till this morning. He has actually sustained a vertebrae fracture, with doctors saying that there's very little hope for him to get back to a life of normalcy. From the 14 dead, what we've gathered so far is that 3 bodies remain unidentified, which means nobody has still claimed or identified as to who they were. So the estimation from police and doctors has come in that these 3 were actually passerbys passing this exact road when rains and thunderstorms struck the city. They actually ran to the petrol pump to take refuge. Now, what we've also understood from the NDRF officials is that this particular end of this site, where a lot of bikes were lined up, has especially suffered a lot of losses, and majorly lives have been lost on this end of the crash site, as these were bikes who were waiting in line to get their tanks refueled. If we see the age range of the 14 victims, it is somewhere between 20 to 40, and all of these happen to be men. The second most affected part of the petrol pump is on the CNG end, where a lot of taxi drivers and small vehicle owners were waiting in line. About 80 vehicles are being estimated to be under the rubble. Now, although NDRF has said that the rescue operation is now complete, but remember the estimated number was about 100 people at this petrol pump who were being estimated to be stuck under this rubble, but only 88 have been accounted for yet.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us with all those questions, Rachna. A lot of unanswered questions there for the Shiv Sena, for the BJP and officials from different departments. Let me now go across once again to Justice Patil. Justice Patil, if we again go back to affidavits which have been filed in the Bombay High Court last year, the BMC, while filing offence sheets in that affidavit, had said there are 1,340 illegal holdings that were put up in Mumbai last year, and most of these were put up between 12:30 a.m. post midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning. Do you think this is a clear modus operandi in place, that you put up these illegal holdings at all the wrong places in the wee hours of the morning? The police will be lax at that time. Nobody would be looking.
Actually, I must thank you people for taking up this issue. But as I always say, now even in this issue, you take it, we never go to the root of the problem. Only superficial remedies, temporary relief, and thereafter again, same thing, to repeat it. Nobody objects. Otherwise, see this now, 14 people are dead and their life is, their age was only 20 to 40. Whole life they have been finished at the nick of their life. Second thing, CNG pump, where you see several people wait for CNG, because it is also not even cheaper now, but it is. So all these people were waiting, so all were breadwinner. They had no other go but to earn from this, and they are all, some of them are injured. She says about 188 and 14 dead, and I don't know what right figure is. So this is what happens everywhere in the country. That is what I am telling you. This is one of the incidents. Many people die unsung. Many people die unsung, and nobody even cares. Now, who will file this accident claim? Who will go to the court? Who will pay them? Everything is in suspense.
Very valid questions there, Justice Patil. Let me now go across to KV Sridhar, founder and CEO of Hyper Collective. KV Sridhar, there was a nodal committee that had been formed at least 8 or 9 years ago, and that committee had recommended that there should be a central database of hoardings. There should be a QR code on all the hoardings. The name of the customer which has commissioned this hoarding, that should be there. The permission number should be there on the hoarding as well. To what extent have these recommendations been followed?
Nothing is followed. And even anything which is followed only to benefit the database for people to monetize that to get more money. Apart from that, there is absolutely nothing which has been followed. The first and foremost, which I wanted to make a point, it is not, legality, even if legally issued, hoarding, do not have safety standards. Mind you. So a lot of things which are legal, which have got the BMC permission, still not adhere to the conditions, to the construction and also the safety conditions, which is very sad. And then this is outdoor, their physical, injuries can happen. And people, it's very sad to see people are losing their life. And then I am ashamed of a community because I come from advertising. And then we do chase people. Wherever people are there, advertisers want to be there. But somewhere, some kind of safety standards need to be maintained for big advertisers to come and then put their name on this hoarding. I think, that responsibility should also lie in media companies and outdoor agencies to really follow the safety norms and also have to be responsible and accountable for everything. So it is very easy, for the sake of money and impact, big brands and big companies put and then, come in and put their logo on that. And then they should also, examine themselves that what kind of places that they're putting their brand. Do you advertise in sleazy, websites? You don't. You only go to the certified websites where you advertise. Why are you going to illegal, outdoor hoardings? Some check needs to be there. What you said is completely true. The audit and then the data should be available in public domain, and advertisers must also look at this data before they put their name on the billboard. So that is what, I think strongly need to be adhered. Right. Avoid, this kind of a thing.
Very important points there, KV Sridhar. My final question to Shailesh Gandhi. Shailesh Gandhi, there are at least, my colleague Abhimanyu Sharma has made a collection of important cases in the Bombay High Court where the issue of illegal hoardings has come up. And there are at least 5 to 6 such instances over the last 5 years where the court has expressed anger. At one point of time, the authorities said that police authorities, the civic authorities are caught up with various duties. There is no streamlined manner in which we can tackle this issue. And the court had a very simple answer. You need political will. So what is the answer to this menace that we see year after year?
The political will is lacking. What India is suffering is poor governance married with corruption, which is a natural outcome. And therefore, you can't stop corruption unless you improve your governance structure. Also, we have a justice system, and any justice system masquerading as a justice system. So therefore, courts issue strictures, but they are not followed. And one thing that I'd like to ask Mr. Hegde, can he ensure that at least 1,000 people who are identified as illegal are put up on the website of the MCGN? And what action was taken on these 1,000? Otherwise, these are all meaningless exercises. Just to show that we are doing something, it's like using a fig leaf, which doesn't solve anything at all. We must ensure that people have to pay when they commit illegal acts. We are not able to do that because of a variety of circumstances. And I can almost bet that nobody will pay for this death of so many people, and everybody will get away for the next few years. Some court case will carry on, and that will be the end of it. We forget. We have a very short memory. Unfortunately, media also, when an accident occurs, plays up the thing. After that, they also forget whether any action was taken or not. Unless we change, we will continue like this. And the audit report has evidently not been implemented. So what's the point of an audit report? What's the point of a special committee? It's all a farce. There's no political will, and people must also insist.
You're right, Shailesh. Mr. Gandhi, you're absolutely right. What is the point of conducting an audit when you already know what the problem is? When you file an affidavit in Bombay High Court that there are close to 1,500 illegal hoardings in the city, means you know what the problem is, you know where the illegal hoardings are. What is the point of this audit now after all these deaths? I'd like to thank all our guests for joining us this evening. It's been an important discussion. And as you said, Mr. Gandhi, the responsibility also on the media to keep up the focus on this issue for the safety of citizens in the country. Thank you very much, Krishna Hegde, KV Sridhar, Justice Patil and Mr. Gandhi for joining us on the program. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. More news and updates continue right here on CNBC-TV18.